What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, it is officially official. Chennedy Carter is a unrestricted free agent in the WNBA. The Chicago Sky opt to not extend a qualifying offer to her. And right now, she is on the market and is free and available to go wherever she wants. Now, guys, let's talk about this because this is a very interesting thing, right? When we look at the Chicago Sky, we have seen what? Turnover. Lots of turnover, lots of turnover, lots of turnover. It first started a couple years ago after we won the WNBA championship. We decided to run it back. We fell short, and then everybody left. Emma Mieseman, Candace Parker, Courtney Vandersloot, Allie Quigley. Lots of players left the Chicago Sky. Then, lots of trades for Myrna Mabry. Then halfway through that season, James Wade said peace out. Our GM and head coach. He said peace out. Got an interim head coach for the rest of the year. The Chicago Sky made the push to make the playoffs that year. And it was sort of like, okay, well, Sky's in limbo land. We have no draft picks. We have an interim head coach. What's in it for the future for the Sky? There is potential here, but not, potential to actually compete for a championship, but potential to definitely make the playoffs consistently. So the Sky decided to say, Emery Vatansever, we appreciate you for helping us finish off the season, making it to the playoffs, but no, we are moving on, and we are doing a search for a new head coach. Supposedly, the search was very thorough, and ultimately, it was announced that Teresa Weatherspoon was the new head coach for the Chicago Sky. All right, lots of excitement around that. I was one of those people who was very excited around that. We found out a little while later after that they hired Jeff Pagliacca as the GM for the Sky. A guy who's never been the GM, but has really good relationships with players around the league, especially players that have been associated with the Chicago Sky. So it was like, okay, these two people are going to bring us into the future for the Chicago Sky. And it's going to be a great future. So we thought. Then we see free agency come about, and the Chicago Sky starts to make some moves, start to sign some training camp contracts. One contract in particular that sparked everybody, or sparked me at least, was signing Chennedy Carter to a training camp contract. Chennedy Carter was a player who was literally given the U.S. national team, U.S. women's national team, the business when they faced Texas A&M when she was in college. She is a guard who can do just about anything on the basketball court. Her time with the Atlanta Dream just didn't work out. Her time with the LA Sparks did not work out. So she found herself bounced from the league. And Teresa Weatherspoon in the Chicago Sky was the option for Chennedy Carter to get back in the league because nobody else really wanted to take that risk because it didn't work out with Atlanta, didn't work out with LA. There was some talks about her being, not a great locker room fit or whatever. And it was like, okay, well, it's just the training camp contract. So like, hey, we'll see what happens from here. But that training camp contract turned into a whole lot more. Chennedy Carter was clearly the best player on this team. She ended up making the roster, ended up coming off the bench to start the season. And after the Chicago Sky, got off to some slow starts, after she would come off the bench and just light it up, it was clear that, okay, she needs to be started. And she did. Chennedy Carter ended up getting that starting spot and didn't look back from there. She didn't look back from there. Ultimately, she was a player who carried this team a huge amount of the season, averaging 17.5 points, shooting 48% from the field. She was someone who you could reliably count on and say, hey, here's the ball, Chennedy. You decide what you want to do, right? And the thing was, she was able to get to her spots on the court, whether that's a mid-range jumper, whether that's the occasional three, whether that's her bread and butter, which is just getting downhill, getting into the lane, and scoring the basket. She was just kind of the end-all be-all. And we saw the way that she worked well with the post, and it just felt like, okay, on the court, great situation. Great situation. And this was a very, very successful season for Chennedy Carter. Yes, there have been talks around locker room issues because, think about it this way. Chennedy Carter, she showed up on a training camp contract and showed out so much that the people who were starting There was a question about that. Okay? Now, guys, remember this. When the season first started, our starting lineup was Dana Evans at the 1, Marina Mabrey at the 2, Diamond Shields at the 3, Elizabeth Williams at the 5, and Angel Reese at the 4. That was the starting lineup. And it was very clear from the first game and on that Chennedy Carter, she was coming for that starting spot. And within, several games, she wound up doing that. We ended up seeing Chennedy Carter work her way into a little bit more minutes, from playing not that many minutes to ultimately starting for the Chicago Sky. It took a while. There were talks about, like, hey, Teresa Weatherspoon, why don't you start Chennedy Carter? And it took a little bit for that to happen, but ultimately, we saw Chennedy Carter work for that spot, and she earned it. And then we saw a new starting lineup of Chennedy Carter Chennedy Carter at the 2, Lindsay Allen at the 1, Michaela Onyenwere at the 3, Angel Reese at the 4, Camila Cardoso at the 5. In my opinion, a very, very successful starting lineup for the Chicago Sky. We saw Chennedy Carter just busting everybody's butts. She was able to get to whatever spot she wanted. And yes, she did have some, swagger to her, right? She had a certain style to her, and the players that she beat out, I'm sure, were just like, they in their feelings, because they're like, well, what the heck, man? You just beat me out. But I would say overall, this was an extremely successful season by Chennedy Carter. I thought Chennedy Carter did what she needed to do. Yes, there was some things, that she did on the court that was like, when Marina Mabrey went to the Connecticut Sun, the game that they ended up meeting each other, Chennedy had a hard foul on Marina, right? Chennedy had the shoulder check on Caitlin. Like, there was like some things that happened through the season that was like, okay, Chennedy. But overall, this was fantastic. This is a fantastic year for Chennedy Carter. This was a promising year for the Chicago Sky until the season was over. Jeff Pagliacca was like, you know what? We're blowing everything up. Teresa Weatherspoon, you got to go. Assistant coaches, you got to go. And we are about to build something brand new for the Chicago Sky. And what exactly that something brand new is, we still don't quite know. But what we do know is that, hey, this is gonna be an interesting time, a very, very, very interesting time for the Chicago Sky. It was very clear that they were like, hey, you know what? We're moving on. We are moving on. And there was some questions. And after the season was over and they fired Teresa Weatherspoon, brought in Tyler Marsh, there was lots of questions about, okay, well, we hear you talk a lot about Angel, we hear you talk about a lot about Camilla, but where does Chennedy fit in? And it was sort of like mum's the word, in a sense, where they really didn't feel comfortable with actually saying anything. So they kind of really didn't. And to me, that made it pretty obvious that, y'all don't want her. Y'all don't want her to return back to this team. And we're going to see a very different Chicago Sky roster going forward. We saw the Chicago Sky extend a qualifying offer to Nikolina Milic, to Dana Evans, and to Michaela Onyenwere, but no qualifying offer for Chennedy Carter. She now has officially, as of today, is a new free agent, an unrestricted free agent for the WNBA, and can go anywhere she wants. Now, here's what Jeff Pagliacca just said in a statement. He said, Chennedy had an incredible season for us last year. She's extremely talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all that she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and will make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a free agent. Now, sure, that's nice to say. That is very, very nice to say, to be like, you know what, we're going to allow her to be a free agent and let her to control her destiny and all this other stuff. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, guys. While that is all fine and dandy in terms of like, oh, nice for her and all this other stuff, for the Chicago Sky, this sucks. And here's why. Because Dana Evans, Michaela Onyenwere, Nikolina Milic, good players. Even combined, they don't reach the level of Chennedy Carter. And the value that she brought to the Chicago Sky last year. She averaged 17.5 points a game, guys. She was one of the best passers on the team last year, especially after Marina left. She was a player that just was hard-nosed and got the job done and made crazy stuff happen. Put the ball in her hands, watch her work. And for the Chicago Sky to just let that walk away for nothing is wild. Because you could have given her a qualifying offer and then you used her as a trading piece. Even if Tyler Marsh didn't want her in the system, you could have got her, used her as a trading piece, and sent her somewhere and got some benefit from it. But now you're like, you know what? We're going to be kind and give her a chance at free agency and all that stuff. And it's just like, dude, from a WNBA business perspective, that was stupid. It was. And here's the thing. I call a spade a spade. I will say whatever I think, regardless of if it actually benefits whoever. And the Chicago Sky, Jeff Pagliacca, Tyler Marsh, I get it. Y'all trying to build something new. Y'all trying to get rid of the old system. Y'all, Chennedy Carter was really a Teresa Weatherspoon type person. And Teresa Weatherspoon, like, oh, she was able to work extremely well with Chennedy Carter. And maybe Tyler doesn't think he can. And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. But to allow Chennedy Carter to just walk, allowing 17.5 points a game to just walk, is wild to me. For nothing. When you could have got her a qualifying offer and try to work some sort of deal out. Like, I don't get it. I don't. I don't understand it at all. Chennedy Carter is one of those players that's so good. She's a horrible player. She is. And for you to just allow her to walk, like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Now, what the Chicago Sky looks like in the future, I think it's very clear that we are not actually in win now mode. I think we are in a build through the draft mode, and I'm fine with that. That's actually cool with me. But yeah, it's clear that, like, whoever we get on the free agency market, even if we trade for players, they're not going to be at the level of Chennedy Carter. Like, Chennedy Carter, like, I think hands down top 10 player in the league, hands down. And if she started from the beginning of the season, she would have been even better towards the end of the season. Yes, she got hurt, and I think that ultimately, crushed the Chicago Sky's hopes of actually making it to the playoffs. But she's one of those pieces. Add her in, watch her work. Like, truly, serious. Las Vegas Aces, y'all want to win another championship? Get Chennedy Carter. Like, I feel like the Las Vegas Aces probably are the best team that can just slot Chennedy in, and I think her and Becky could actually work really, really well together. And I think that could be really special. Like, man, can you imagine? That's why the Chicago Sky should have, gave a qualifying offer so they could have got something in return. But hey, Kennedy's going to move on. She's going to be very successful. This is why I did not buy a Chennedy Carter jersey, because I just wasn't sure that she was going to return to the team next year. Wherever she's at, I'm going to be cheering for her. I am a Chennedy Carter fan. Wherever she goes, I will be very happy for her. I will be cheering her on because I think she is an extremely, extremely rare talent in the WNBA. She is. Like, yeah, there's a lot of scores in the WNBA. There's a lot of hype around a lot of players in the WNBA. But Chennedy Carter's her. She is. And she's gonna bust our butt when she play us. I tell you that. And she'll be mean. she gonna get after us. But hey, it is what it is. That's the video. What do y'all think in the comments? Let me know. And guys, before we end, actually, I want to share with you a clip from WNBA Radio where it's a radio show on Twitter, and Chennedy Carter dropped by. Like, she actually hopped in the stream and was talking about her experience with the Chicago Sky. And I love the conversation. So here is what Chennedy has to say directly from Chennedy as of yesterday. Shout out to WNBA Radio for hosting that space and having Chennedy come on. Like, that's the power of Twitter, y'all. That is the power of Twitter. But she was like, you know what? I want to pop in this conversation. I got something to say. And so she said it. So anyway, watch that clip. Again, shout out to WNBA Radio and Starfighter Reviews who hosted that stream. But anyway, check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see y'all in the next one. Till next time, guys. Bye bye.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a business, you know. Some things are said, some things are gone unsaid. You guys do know that, you know, I came from Los Angeles. I didn't play. I came to a new organization. I was embraced. I was loved. I came from playing 8 minutes, guys. I came from playing 8 minutes to taking a lot of people's spots, taking minutes, playing, doing a lot of things for the organization that I really respect and I love and I appreciate for even giving me the opportunity. So for the narratives of me not being happy and this and that can't possibly be true because it's just like everything in Chicago typically went right for me. You know, there was nothing that I could say that, oh, I didn't like the way they did this, or oh, I didn't like how this happened. Like everything was really cool from just the teammates to the games, even just when we were trying to make the playoffs. It was a hard fight. Y'all know I went down. I had a foot injury, which cost a lot of games at the end of the season. We ended up losing to Washington. I didn't play. We lost to Indiana. I didn't play that game. I missed a couple of games to where maybe if we had our whole lineup, we could have had a better outcome. But like as far as like that, there's a lot of just narratives being spent. And from my standpoint, I had a great time, and this was one of the best seasons that I ever had in my career. And I'm not gonna allow anybody to downplay it like it went bad because it didn't go bad. It was the best season that I've had in my life, shooting wise, playing wise, living wise. Like it was a great experience for me personally.
I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
What have you, in terms of your game, what have you been working on this off season?
I'm really
Like
just
focus.
working on just trying to be in the best shape of my life, trying to be able to space the floor a little bit, read defenders. I'm getting trapped and guarded by three people, so I'm learning how to obviously put the ball on the ground, find people, see everyone around the court, find myself, continue to get to my spots, and just continue to shoot the ball the way I was shooting it during the season. Just shoot with confidence and really just be a space creator. Find my bigs, find my wings, just seeing the floor better than I've seen this past season. Obviously, I
And
felt like I played good on the defensive end too. Like people don't understand. Like when I came to Chicago, I was guarding threes. Like I was guarding pretty much all the threes in the league. So I went from guarding threes to guarding twos to guarding point guards. So I'm pretty comfortable in that area defensively, just even with my size.
also, I heard they love you over there in China.
Yeah,
How
they
you how
do.
you
I
feel about
mean,
that experience?
it's amazing. A lot of people never even get to go outside of the U.S. So when you hear people talking about, oh, you're in China, stay in China. First off, China is paying me a hell of a lot of money to be over here. More money than I can even count up if I'm really being honest. And then on top of that, I get an extra amount of money just for winning games and having high stats. So just making the money over here, it makes me want to push harder and get better and become a great player, a great teammate. The coaches love me, the organization loves me, they appreciate me and what I've done for them. We're number one right now. We haven't took too many losses. We should make the playoffs. We could potentially play Camilla's team. So, I mean, it's fun over here. It's less stress. You ain't got to worry about all of the Twitter narratives and all of the extra stuff that just come with, playing in the W. Some of the stuff, it just be extra. Just want to focus on basketball and just have fun. Like sometimes the fun really be just taken out of it, and you don't have to deal with that here. You literally can play basketball, get paid a lot of money, and just go home, steady yourself the way it should be.
So we probably won't see you in Unrival next year. Oh
Um,
my god.
um, you know, that's one of the things I understand. The fans want to see me in that. Um, I even talked to my family about it. 3-on-3 for me, guys. I'm pretty fast. I'm quick in transition. I don't think it would be a stretch for me, but I'm more so just focused on my bag. So it just depends. Me and my agent, we're going through the process right now, figuring everything out. So it really just depends. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm doing so well here that it would be quadruple of what I'm making now. So it really just depends. But I love the league. I love all the ladies in it. The competition has been good. It's making everybody better. A lot of one-on-one games. So it would definitely be fun for the fans. But like I said, it really just depends.
All right, this is my last question. So you've been watching the league, right? Like just from watching the league, who do you think is going to win the championship, and why is it vital, DC?
Why do you think I'm gonna go hit vinyl? No.
Because Cause they got the ISO scores. They got the Chennedy Carter prototypes on their team. For real.
Nah, Enrique and Ryan, they're two special, talented players who are amazing from just creating their own shot. We're all similar in the same ways, but just play a little bit different. I'm a fan of their team for sure, but the number one team that I really like watching is the Owls. I like the way they space the floor, they move the ball, and they're cohesive. They have team chemistry. So if I put my money, I'd put my money on the Owls. But for sure, I love Enrique's team with Ryan for sure.
Go ahead, Brady.
All right, so Ken, I know you said you don't want to talk about the WNBA or the business side of it, and I don't know if my question kind of like borders that or whatever. So it's fine if you don't want to answer it or anything, but like it's been a lot of like back and forth on the timeline with people possibly misconstruing your words or taking things too deeply. You want to clear that up or speak to like your relationship with your teammates and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, some of my teammates, we have the same agent. We're represented by the same agent. So there's a lot of conversations that's been going on behind closed doors that I don't personally want to say people's name, but they're very important who obviously like playing with me, love playing with me. But as far as, the number one player, Angel's a special player, I love watching her. This season, we had a great relationship. And I don't feel like, the way things went on Twitter, it shouldn't have went like that. When people kind of wear a shoe, that means you believe that. I specifically was speaking to me. I'm a valuable player because obviously the closest shot on the court is the layup or the mid range, and that's what I specialize in doing. So when I'm tweeting, I'm specifically talking about me. Y'all know I think that I'm all world, all pro. So I'm locked in on myself. I really don't care about any other player or what they got going on. Just know that when you see me, it's always going to be smoke. I'm always going to have my sneakers laced. I'm always going to be ready to hoop. And then after that, we could talk about whatever. But as far as like, the narratives, I think people are going to do that. I'm a hot commodity right now. I'm a big time player, with things that happened in the past that just continually try to like bring me down and try to belittle me as a person. Most of these people don't know me, never talk to me, only read what they seen in the media and the articles, don't know the story that happened in Atlanta, don't know how it transpired, don't know that, players apologized and understood their parts. I understood my part. Really don't know the back end of the story. Just know what they put out on media, and that's fine. Like, they can take a narrative. They're able to do that. Their opinions never bother me. But it's just when people try and spin my words as if like I'm talking about other players. I don't have to talk about other players because I believe that, I'm one of the best players in the world. And I've shown that multiple times, no matter if it was 8 minutes or 38 minutes. So as far as that, yeah, I just think that sometimes people take things too far to the wrong extent, try and bring up people that have nothing to do with me. I have nothing to do with them. Then to my main point, one of the players that they brought up, she wasn't even playing tonight. So it's just little shit like that that just it's unnecessary, it's uncalled for, just trying to bring drama. I feel like I'm a little bit of a clickbait person, so as soon as you see my name, a lot of people gonna click in, and that's cool. You bringing a lot of eyes to me. Like, I don't never doubt it, but it's just like little shit like that. It get unnecessary at times. Like, if you're allowed to say how you feel, like y'all feel like, oh, I should make this and I should make that. I should be able to say I feel like a person should make layups regardless of it's me or anybody in the NBA. Anybody that plays basketball knows that you should make layups. That's the first thing that we practice when you become a athlete. You work on layups. It's the closest shot. Then you work your way out, mid-range three-pointers. So I personally don't think that my take was incorrect, and I think that the chart is just a chart. Like, it's correct. I'm gonna like anything that's relevant and tied to me when somebody is giving me praise, because clearly we see I don't get it very often. So when you see things like that, I like that. I like that somebody acknowledged that, I did have a great efficient season from the field. And that's just that on that.